Good afternoon and welcome to the Power Code Accounting and Financial Reports training. Today we will cover, in our outline, certain terms we'll need to know moving forward, an overview of the financial and accounting system, and different types of financial reports including money due reports, service reports, income reports, tax reporting, other reports, network-based reports, and then we'll also talk about suggestions and questions that you may have. Some terms we need to know moving forward are going to be accrual or accumulation of something is, in finance, the adding together of interest or different investments over a period of time. We'll talk about the reason why we're bringing up these terms later on. And accrued revenue or accrued assets is an asset such as unpaid proceeds from a delivery of goods or services when such income is earned and a related revenue item is recognized, while cash is to be received in a latter period when the amount is deducted from accrued revenues. And the reason why we're talking about those specific terms is because PowerCode's accounting is based on the accrual system, which means that PowerCode's financial reports will show revenue as it has been billed to the customer and not cash received on the bill. So let's take a look at Jack Favre's account and dig into some of these financial reports. Alright, so I did set up two accounts beforehand. One of them being Jack Favre and the other one being Jerry White. So taking a look at Jack Favre's account, immediately we can tell that Jack is in a delinquent status. Looking at the billing tab, we get a little bit more information as to why this is. So as we can see here, we do have a balance of $222.40. And then recent activities, we can see that Jack made a check payment recently for $20. He has a charge for taxes. And then we do see that he had purchased a 10-foot tripod from us for $120. So we can assume immediately that the bulk of that $220 is going to be from this month or from the last invoice for that 10-foot tripod. Now if we look at the services on Jack's account, we can see that he has a monthly internet service for $34.95 and then a monthly recurring service for $1. Now, $35.95, it really doesn't make up for that extra $100 that we have on that account. So it appears that Jack's balance has been running for quite a bit. So the next step in the process is to figure out how long Jack has been carrying this balance. And we can do this manually by crunching the numbers, but we can also utilize PowerCode's money due reports, which leads me to my next slide. So Jack owes me. Based on the information on Jack's account, I see that he is late on his bill and the amount appears to be for more than 1 month of service. I am interested in how long Jack has been overdue on his bill and for what time period this money is due. Instead of crunching the numbers myself, I'm going to utilize PowerCode's money due reports. These reports will show me customers who have a balance on their account. These reports consist of aged receivables, accounts with balance due, customers with positive balance, outstanding loans, and then a balance of all customer accounts, either summary or detail. So jumping back into my system here, we'll go ahead and select Reports Financial. And then we'll see the reports that we'll be covering today. And the first one will be this money due reports section. So immediately I can come into the aged receivable section and I can see that I have both accounts that I have in my system, Jack Favre and Jerry White. Most of you will have a lot more accounts in there than I have, but for the sake of slimming this down for the training, I have these two accounts. So we can see that immediately we can change the date that we're looking at this report from. So if we'd like to see how this information looked on the 1st of March, we can. And then how are we aging this information? Is it based on the date that the charge was added to the account or the date that the customer was invoiced? Now, this information that we're seeing here is going to show me the customer, the balance on their account currently, what that period is for, so if it's currently due based on the last invoice, or if it's 1 to 30 days late, 31 to 60 days, 61 to 90, or over 90 days. So here we can see for Jack, some of his charges fall in the 61 to 90 days period. We did see that $20 check payment. So if we were to add $20 to this $18.80, it would come out to this $38.80, which would be his total monthly service. Now we can see that he is 61 to 90 days late, 31 to 60 days late, and then for the last month, this is including his $120 tripod and then a month's worth of services. Now Jerry, we can see he has a negative balance, and it'll show me what that negative balance is from. And then on the bottom here we can see totals, positive totals, negative totals, and then a total altogether with negatives deducted from positives. So this would be the aged receivable, and again it's just giving you a snapshot of how long this money has been due. Looking at the next financial report, and I'll actually jump back in aged receivables 1 second. One thing I will point out is we can export these reports to either CSV or Excel. If you want to get this information out into a different report, change the way the information is arranged, you can. The next money due report is going to be accounts with balances due. So selecting this report, we'll see that this report is based on the bill due date and does not take into account any grace period settings. It also contains only customers with positive balances. So that's why we're not seeing Jerry White on here. He did have a negative balance. And then we can see Jack Favre, he owes us, or the balance that is due is $96.40. Now this is excluding the current balance, which includes that 10-foot tripod. So on his balance it says that he owes $222, but what's past due is going to be $96.40. And then we'll also give you a total on this as well, based on statuses. So as we can see, the customers that owe us money are in delinquent status. And again, we can run this report for different time periods. Jumping back into financial reports, the next report we'll take a look at is going to be customers with positive balances. So you'll see a lot of these reports are similar, but it is giving us different information. For example, this report may be useful for being proactive. If this is the day before delinquency is going to run, I can come into this report and see potentially delinquent accounts or customers that still have a positive balance. That way I can actively contact these customers, try and get them to pay their balance, let them know that they will be switched to delinquent tomorrow if that's the day my delinquency runs. Otherwise, if I'm just looking for this information, customers with positive balances, we just pull up this report and see that here. Now we can have this report emailed to us. So if I select email report up in the top right, it'll ask me how frequent do I want this report emailed to me. I could select daily, weekly, and monthlies. Now the only question that may come up is who is this report being sent to? And it is going to be sent to the logged in user that is requesting the report. So in this case it's the administrator. Now to be sure that you are getting this report, you would just go into config PowerCode users, select your user, and make sure your email account is on your user account in PowerCode. So then you can select if you want this to be emailed to you. And the next report we'll look at is going to be outstanding loans. So I did set up Jerry White with a loan account, and that is why you were able to see that negative balance, because I loaned him some money. So it would look like a credit on his account. Now, 1 month worth of charges did run for Jerry White, so the total loan balance is $140, but here it is showing some money taken out of that. So anybody that does have that active loan will be able to see that information here. Again, you can have this report emailed to you if you are utilizing the loan system. The next report we'll look at is going to be balance of all customer accounts. This report will let you select the day that you're looking for this information on. And then it is going to output a summary to you. So as you can see here, it'll show you all debits, all the credits, and then a balance of all customer accounts, which is going to be the credits removed from the debits. And then any loan payments or debits. So as you can see here, the loan was for $149.95. The customer had paid a total of $50. Now we have a current loan balance of $99.95. Looking back at our financial reports, now we can also see this information in detail. So it's nice to see a snapshot of how much debits and credits we have in the system, but as far as giving me more detail, I can see where this money is actually coming from. So based on the accounts, I can see all my customers with positive balances. Keep in mind, customers with zero balances are not shown. And then again, on the same token, customers with negative balances. And again, we can have this report emailed to us. Going back into financial reports, the next reports that we're going to talk about are service reports. So service reports. Here we are able to see financial data as it applies to individual services. These reports consist of services purchased, customers without overage services. That's going to be based on usage-based billing. Line item reports, customer price overrides, and then customer services where billing is not active. So looking at our first service report here, we'll look at services purchased. Now what we can see in the services purchased report is first quantity, so quantity of each service we have in our system. So this will indicate how many accounts that this service is applied to. The cost of the service, the projected income from the services. This is recurring. And then the actual income. So the difference in projected and actual, as you can see down here, with my check processing fee, is that on one account, my check processing fee costs $2. So on one account, it's on there for the full $2. On a different account, I actually price overrid the service for $1. So that's why we're seeing an actual revenue of $3. And this is for the check processing fee. We'll give you the service ID, the service name, and then the type of service. So whether it's monthly internet, other monthly, or one-time charges. And then you can also see customers without these services. So if I'd like to see customers that do not have my $2 check processing fee, or if I have another particular service that all of my accounts should have, maybe a referral discount, I can check all my customers that do not have that service. Then we'll show you total projected income versus total actual income. Back at financial reports. The next report will be customers without overage services. So this is going to be purely for the customers doing usage-based billing that have overage services on their account. In most cases, this information is crucial for them because they are charging based on the usage. So if this relates to you and you have more questions on this, then please just go ahead and call us or email us at support@powercode.com. If it doesn't, then we're just going to continue. The next report that we can look at is the line item report. And we use this pretty heavily in-house. And the main purpose for this would be to see the amount of revenue you're getting from specific services. So for example, if I'd like to see a line item report for my 3 meg plan, I'd select my 3 meg plan. It'll ask me how I want to see this information. So would I like to see customers with the selected items or without the selected items? And then based on what account status. So in this case, I just want to see all my active and delinquent accounts with my 3 meg plan. And I can select this information. We can see here that I do have one customer who has this plan. So my total revenue from this is going to be $34.95. Obviously, if you have more data, you'll see the total as it relates to your database. So another use for this may be you want to see all of the customers with monthly internet services. Again, we do give you the type, so you can come through here, select all monthly internet services, and see how much revenue you're generating from strictly monthly internet. And then maybe on the same token, you want to do that with monthly recurring services. So, for example, I want to see everybody with my $2 check processing fee. Now again, if you do want to see customers without the selected items, you can just select the item that you're looking for or not looking for, and then select customers without these services and generate the list. Going back to financial reports. Another report we have in services reports is going to be customer price overrides. So this information is useful because you may price override a service only for a period of time and then forget about that. And now you have this service out there that should really be $50, but it's only $25. So what we'd like to do is frequently check that. So maybe once a month we come in here and see customers with price overrides. And we did talk about this in a previous report, but Jack did have the $2 check processing fee, and I overrid the cost to $1. And then it's always going to ask for a reason. So in this reason, me and Jack are buds. But you may have a real reason. You know, the customer can only pay us half this month. We're overriding the cost. Whatever the reason may be, you can dictate that. So then if it's at the time where we should set this cost back to $2, we can select the account and then change the price back. The next report we'll look at is going to be customer services where billing is not active. So similar to price overrides, there may be times where we switch billing to not active. For example, here in Wisconsin, where we're from, we have customers that like to go down to Florida for the winter, call them snowbirds. So during that process, we might deactivate their monthly internet service, but we may still keep the account active. Maybe it's delinquent, however we want to handle that. We still want to be able to see those not active services. So selecting this report will show me customers with not active services. So again, looking at Jerry White's account, he does have a check processing fee on the account. It's a monthly service, and the service cost is $0 in this case because it is not active. So if I dig down in here and I jump into Jerry's account, it'll take me straight to the Services tab, and I can see to the right of the service that it is not active. Now, if this is set to change, we'd obviously just select that service, switch it to active, and now it would be correct. So those are service reports. The next reports we'll look at are going to be our income reports. Income reports. So the account class report is based on the accrual system. So the amounts you see on the report are amounts that you have billed to the customer and not actually money received. And then the other report we'll talk about is the summarized daily deposits report, which will show payments made by the customers, whether the payments made were cash, check, credit card, ACH, e-check, and then again, we're going to discuss account class and summarized daily deposits. So looking at the account class report, this is another one that we heavily used here. I'm going to go ahead and run the reports from the beginning of the year, but you do have the ability to select what dates you're running the report from. So in most cases, you may want to see this over a bill cycle, so maybe from the 1st to the 28th or 30th or 31st. And then on the same token, you may also want to see this data over a year or a 6-month period. So just select the date range and then run the report. The first thing we can see here is we can download this report as an Excel document. But it does come back with some different data here. So the data we can see here is monthly internet access income. We do break this up. Other monthly income, so this will be just monthly recurring services. Other income, which may be classified as our one-time charges, usage charges. Cash check payment, so any payments received. If we did have credit cards enabled, we'll also see credit cards, and we can break it down into Visa, MasterCard, Discover, so based on what type of payment method they have. Any loans, any loan payments made, and then taxes. So it is close to tax season here. Talk about taxes real quick. As you can see, I do have two tax zones, which is going to be my counties, and then a type of tax, which is sales. So Sheboygan County tax appears to be $11.55, Door County $2.47. They both have the same tax type of sales, so we add these two numbers together and we get this $14.02 in sales tax. Moving on here in the monthly internet service access income, I do have other, which is going to be anything not dictated in a subclass, and then business, which is a subclass that I created. Now we create these in items, account classes. So instead of seeing this information as a whole, so everybody that has monthly internet access income, we may want to break it down into subclasses. So maybe my business customers, I'd like to see how much they're paying me based on their monthly internet access, and then on the same note, residential customers. Or maybe you do it based on tower location. You really have the ability of setting in the service what the subclass is. So here, taking a look at my business customers, I can see that we did $140 in business over the last 2.5 months. And then other. And then I can add those numbers together and get my total monthly internet access income. Now if I'd like to see where this information is coming from, I can also select that particular amount, and it'll bring me into more detailed information. So this is for 3 months worth of Jack Favre's services, $34.95, which will come out to $104.85. And then I can download this particular report as well. And we can do that with the rest of these reports as far as the debit column. So other monthly income, again, maybe my check processing fee. We have other income down here, cash check payments made. We did have a check payment or a cash payment for $20. So we can select that and drill down and get that information. And then we did apply a loan to somebody's account and they paid $50 on it. So again, we're just giving you the ability to see this information as a whole. I do recommend getting in, changing some of these subclasses, just getting a real feel of where this money is coming from, and utilizing the system to the fullest. Moving on. So these are income reports, so we will give you a summarized daily deposit report. Again, the account class report that's showing that we billed out, for example, $104 to our business customers, but that isn't necessarily money that we collected yet. So we'd like to see summarized daily deposits, people that have paid. We're not going to be able to tie that to an invoice or tell you what that money was paid toward, but we can show you as a total how much money has been paid. So I believe Jack paid his bill on the 1st, so I'm just going to select the date range of the 1st, and I do see this cash check payment show up for $20. Now cash check payments are manually entered by you or your employees. Credit card payments can be manually executed or automatic. So with credit card payments, I can tell you with some amount of certainty that the amount of money that you're actually collecting as far as a daily deposit from credit cards will be correct as far as the total in the end, because if that was to fail, we wouldn't actually add it to credit card payments made. It would fail out, and then we'd still need to collect payment on that. So we're pretty certain that the amount that you do see in credit card payments is the actual amount that you received. We can't say the same thing about cash and check payments because, again, this is a manual process. And then ACH e-check payments, as long as they've been billed in PowerCode or paid in PowerCode, we'll show them as payments made. But as we do know, the next day the cash or check or the check payment may fail. So the amount we can't say for certain has been added to your bank account. Now, with company that we are partners with as far as credit card processing goes and e-check processing, we do have the ability to do auto e-check reconciliation with the company ProPay. And how that works is if the check were to bounce, ProPay would send us back that information. It would show us which accounts those check bounces or those bounced checks relate to, so that we can go back in those accounts, make the adjustments, and then contact the customers for payment. So that'll cover our income reports, account class reports, summarized daily deposits. The next section is going to be tax reports. So tax reports are just how they sound, reports based on taxes billed to your customers. We have two ways of gathering this information, either by type or by zone. So we talked about this a little bit in the account class report. I showed you my two zones, Sheboygan and Door County, and then my tax type happens to be sales tax. So this would be a fairly easy report. If you got some complex taxes, it may look a little different, but again, if you do have any questions, feel free to contact us at any time for those answers. Looking at the tax reports, we can see here that we have tax zone and tax type. So selecting tax zone, again, it's going to give me a start and end date I can select. So maybe we're doing end of year taxes. We want it for the whole year. But what this information will show me is customers that have these taxes on their account, the charges billed out to the customers, and then how the taxes relate to those charges. So of $238.85, $11.55 has been paid on taxes. Now, if there were any credits associated with this account, we would show you how much was credited, and then as well as the tax that was credited to the customer. And then we'll take the total at the end. So credits minus debits will give us our total. This is Sheboygan County. I don't have anybody in Brown County, but I do have a customer in Door County. Everything else stays the same, debits, credits, and a total. And then any customers that have no tax zone, we'll also put them into a pool so that you can see those customers. So that would be our tax zone report. Going back into financial reports, let's look at tax type reports. And again, I only have one tax type. So as a summary, it's going to tell me how much was debited, credited, and my total amount for that particular tax type. It's a pretty simple report, but it is getting you the information you're looking for. The next reports we'll look at are going to be our other reports. So we'll talk about what those consist of. Other reports. The reports here are based on information that we will not necessarily classify as income or services. For example, we have a report here that shows if customers are missing payment methods. So the reports we'll cover here are temporary grace periods, customers missing payment methods, and customers with expired credit cards. So all good information to have. So other reports, one report that we do have here that we won't cover today is query-based accounting reports. If you'd like to talk about that further or some information on that, then go ahead and let us know. either by email or phone. Looking at temporary grace periods, right away, this looks similar to some of the other reports we have looked at, and really it's just telling me any customer that has a temporary grace period on their account. It'll give me their default grace period and then the date that they have been graced out to. So the reason why you would set a temporary grace period in most cases would be if a customer were to call you and tell you that maybe they don't have the money by the end of their grace period or bill due by date, and they just needed an extension to get that money to you. We could change the default grace period, but then now we have somebody that doesn't match everybody else in our system. So they'll just have a different grace period. After the customer pays, we may forget to go back in and switch that grace period. So now we have an incorrect account in our system. So what we'd like to do is go into Jerry's account, because he does have that grace period set. We don't actually now have to manipulate that hard grace period. We can just set a temporary grace to where we won't shut them off until they pay by a specific date. So instead of adjusting the grace period, we'll come in here, we'll select the date. So normal or general conversation may go, to the customer, when do you expect to have this money to us? They'll give you the date. If that's good with you, then you just select that date. So customer says they can pay us by the 13th. Set their temporary extension to the 13th. Now this customer won't be set to delinquent until after the 13th if they still haven't paid their bill. And then that'll expire, obviously. So after the 13th, we'll switch them to delinquent. Now they don't have a temporary grace period anymore. Going back into financial reports. Customers missing payment methods. So this will be customers that don't have credit card or e-check on their account. This is a test system, so I don't actually have any payment methods. So both my customers are showing up. So again, if you're just looking for this information, we can output it. It's up to you what you do with it. Going back into financial reports, the next report is going to be customers with expired credit cards. So this may be good information to know. We can be proactive, make contact with these customers. Again, I don't have any payment methods, so it's not actually outputting any data. And then we will not talk about affiliate sales reports today. If you are doing sales reports through PowerCode, and this is going to be for resellers, then go ahead and contact us either by email or phone. And the next kind of last section we'll cover here is going to be network-based reports. So network-based reports, you may want to get a real feel for your network and how much income your subnets and BMUs are generating. We have just the reports for you. This section will also cover commissions on services and items sold. So BMU income, subnet income, and then sales commissions. So looking at BMU income, I do have a BMU in the system here. We can select the BMU. So for example, it's the PowerCode test BMU, the one that I do have in the system, and then a start and end date, like some of the other reports that we've looked at today. So through that time period, from the first of the year until now, our total income generated, and it's just going to be a summary, and it'll output that information. So $339. And again, with like with all of our other reports, you can have that information emailed to you. So if you have multiple BMUs, you can look at which one generates the most income, and just have that information at your fingertips. And on the same token, you may want to dig down deeper and see how much income is being generated by each subnet. So I don't actually have a live subnet on here, but if you did, simply select subnet income, and then you can select the subnet, and then you'll see your subnet that's actually generating the most income. And the last piece is going to be sales commissions. So where we'll actually set up sales commissions is going to be set up in our config PowerCode user. We'll select the user. In this case, I only have one. It's going to be the admin. And then to the right of that, we can either edit the user or edit commissions. Now, commissions are based on services, and then you can either enter a percentage or a dollar amount. So in this case, all of the services I have in the system are available. And then we can come down and say that if the administrator turns up the 1 meg plan on a customer's account, he is going to get 10% commission on the total cost of that service. So we go ahead and submit that. If the user then were to log into an account, add that particular service, we can come into financial reports, check out our sales commissions, run it for a set period of days. I don't, again, have any data in here, but if you did have commissions set up on particular services, then we would show you the services that those were turned up on, how many customers these services were, and then total commissions. So these are the financial reports that we offer through PowerCode. We're always looking for suggestions and adding more financial reports. So if you do have any suggestions, or if there are any reports that you want to see that we don't provide, please let us know. So we'll look at the next slide here. It's going to say suggestions. Would you like to see more from financial reports? Please send your report suggestions to support@powercode.com. And please give detailed examples of what you are looking for. So if you do have a report in mind, please let us know how you'd like that to look. And then if a report isn't the way you expect it, please let us know that, and then again, detail on how you would expect that report. The last piece I'll touch on here is we do give you these reports to get real detailed information, but you may just want to log in and see a snapshot of your financial data as a whole. So we do give you this financial dashboard, and really quickly it'll tell you your average revenue per user. So it's doing that calculation for you, and then your monthly recurring total. We'll also give you historical trending data as well. So how much has that recurring revenue and average revenue per user changed over the last month? Again, just giving you the tools to see this information and then make changes where they need to be. So that will be our presentation on accounting and financial reports. If you have any questions on specific reporting, please send your questions into support@powercode.com. All right, that concludes this training evolution. Thank you for your attendance.